players are facing constant barrage of shots because the defense is still not stick. Particularly the forwards really don't help out. Mike Keenan would like to change all that. He has. There's really no alternative. It still is an offensive-minded team, and that's really going to be the key for the Hawks until they can make vast personnel change.
Well, the Capitals, as you mentioned, Al, making a couple of changes. Washington taking to the ice surface right now. Let's talk about the taking to the ice surface right now. Let's talk about those two new players up from Baltimore in Ivan Korovo and Mike Miller.
Well, Ivan Korovo was sent down specifically just for 2 weeks and had a good 2 weeks. He picked up 11 points in 5 games, and I talked to him before the game. He says he feels a lot better about his game, feels a lot more comfortable handling the puck, doing more things with it. And Mike Miller, what can you say about him? At the American Hockey League level, he's a proven goal scorer. During training camp, Capital fans got to see him. He scored a number of goals, displays an excellent touch around the net. In 27 games in Baltimore, picked up 26 goals. You can't ask for better production than that. So Mike Miller, Ivan Korovo will certainly get plenty of ice time tonight to try and pick up the Caps offense.
All right, the Capitals and the Chicago Blackhawks tonight here at Chicago Stadium, and the Caps hoping to get a couple of points before heading back home on Friday to face off against the New York Rangers. We're only moments away from the opening face-off, and we'll be back to bring it to you right after. With the national anthem, Nancy Faust at the Stadium organ. Hello again, everyone. Mike Forens with Al Koken here on DC 20. Here's tonight's officials. Rob Schick with Pierre Champoux and Dan Shakti. Starting in goal tonight, the Washington Capitals go with Pete Peters. 4 wins, 3 losses, and 2 ties in 10 games. He's given up 31 goals in 546 minutes for a 3.41 average and 1 shutout. Clint Malarchuk will back him up. Our first look at Ed Belfour. 0-4-0 in 6 games played. 23 goals against for a 4.34 average. No shutouts. Darren Pang is the backup. Highly touted Blackhawk goaltender Jimmy Waite is injured, and they're expecting him to be out for about 3 months with a badly broken collarbone. We're underway, and the puck thrown back inside the Washington zone. Here's Captain Dennis Savard turning it around to the corner. Now Grant Ledyard in to throw a hit. Gustafson tries to take it away, but here's Larmer cutting a sharp corner, and now Wilson keeps it inside the line. Back to Larmer. In behind the net, he's bumped off the play. Savard steps in, tries to move it out. Now Ledyard gets a skate on it. And Scott Stevens starts the pass ahead. It gets away from Mike Miller and goes all the way back into the Chicago zone. Lead pass out for Dirk Graham. Tips it ahead for Savard. Back to the Washington line, and here's Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher brings it across the blue line. Long slap shot right on goal, and Belfour makes the game's first save. Steve Leach hit hard in the corner by Keith Brown. Now Leach back to get it. Throws behind the net. Here's Ridley turning it around and can't get it centered. He's wrestled to the ice by Brown. Leach tries to work it away. Back to Mike Ridley. And it's taken over by Presley, and Presley steers it off the glass out to center. Steve Leach on the right wing. Loses it. Now it's picked up by Savard, or rather to Murray. Troy Murray feeds it on the right wing to Presley. He throws into the corner. The Blackhawks complete the line change. Into the corner goes Kevin Hatcher for Washington. Steers it ahead to Ridley. Rink-wide pass is picked up now by McGill, and he throws it all the way into the Washington zone. Langway behind the net. Right wing pass for Leach. Leach starts out to center. Flips it back into the Chicago zone, and McGill settles it down. He starts ahead. The Capitals changing on the fly. McGill's shot is on net, but the play is called offside. Well, missing tonight from the Washington lineup, Peter Sundstrom with Neil Sheehy and Lou Francischetti, who are all scratched. No injuries to report for the Capitals, with Miller and Korovo up from Baltimore. Chicago missing Jimmy Waite because of that collarbone injury, and Mike Keenan also has had to scratch 3 players from his lineup tonight. It's be very evident to him that he's not dealing with the same cast of characters that he had in Philadelphia.
There's no question, and you know, it's a good hockey tradition in this town, but it's a completely different style of hockey than Mike Keenan is used to having.
Here's a lead pass for Hunter, but the pass offside. And we'll bring the face-off out to neutral ice now with 17:42 remaining here in the first period.
You know, Keenan wants a prototypical flyer type of team with great toughness down the middle. When you got a guy like Dennis Savard, he'll give you magical moves, he'll give you great offensive skills, but he is certainly not known for his toughness or his defensive play. And even Savard has admitted that he's struggling a bit and knows he's bringing the team down a bit and says he can't get himself out of this little slump.
Dan Vincelette gets the draw and clears it back into the Washington zone. Here's Scott Stevens turning the corner. He's bumped off the play. Now it's thrown behind the net. Over to Conroy at the left point. His drive right on and right in front of the net. Gartner was able to get a skate on it. He kicked it away. Corvo tries to clear it out, but Manson keeps it in. Tie up behind the goal. It's worked away from Sutter's skate by Vincelette. Now he tries to center it. Pete Peters bumped by Bob Basson in the goal crease. Into the corner again for Gartner. Here comes Gartner starting out for Washington. Dumps it across the line. Back into the Chicago zone. Now we've got a fight going. Dale Hunter is tied up along the sideboards and is getting in some pretty good punches there on Bob Basson. I believe it's Hunter.
Yeah,
Basson, the man who's getting up, and if it is Dale Hunter, that's 2 fights in 2 games from a fellow who plays it rough, but you normally don't see him in a whole lot of fisticuffs. And last time in New York, it was Chris Nyland.
Well, certainly Bob Basson, the former Islander, knows all about Dale Hunter and the Capitals. He'll get a lot of ice time from Mike Keenan tonight. There's a break in the action. We've got no score between the Caps and the Hawks. They've just completed the calls, slashing minors to each Basson and Hunter, also 5-minute majors for fighting. So neither side will lose manpower. To the right of your screen, Stu are into it already. And basically, Pierre Shampoo was the man right on the spot there. He gets in there to try and break this up, which is pretty dangerous work, but I'm sure he was the one who also advised Rob Schick of what he saw in terms of the slashing calls that got everything started.
Scoreless game. Time in the penalties, 2:58 of the first period. Michael Pavanka for Washington in to work the draw against Hawk captain Dennis Savard. Caps get the draw back to Hatcher. The puck was rolling. Hatcher settles it down, then shoots wide. Now over to Larmer. He bats it off the boards and puts it back inside the Washington zone. On the right wing, Dave Christian. To Pavanka at the blue line. That play broken up. Savard takes it back, feeds it ahead on the right side. Dirk Graham circles the net, and as he centers it, Langway was there to clear it away. Now back in the corner, Michael Pavanka left alone with the puck, steers it ahead on the right wing, couldn't get it to Christian, and Wilson flips it back into Washington ice. Here's Pavanka carrying to center ice. Dumps it back inside the Chicago zone. Lead pass up the middle. Wilson with his favorite play trying to spring Savard, but this goes too far, and as Stevens catches up to it first, icing is the call. Well, Scott Stevens tonight playing in his 500th National Hockey League game. That's an awful long time for a young man. Stevens still, in terms of years, just a youngster, but is certainly a veteran in terms of his career in the National Hockey League.
And that's the incredible part when you think about his age and the 500 games and the fact that he had to learn everything on the job coming into Washington as an 18-year-old for the 1981 draft, and has literally held a key spot on that blue line ever since.
Mike Eagles to work the faceoff, but Gustafsson beats him. Back to Stevens, a slap shot. That's knocked down in front of the net. Jeff Courtnall reaches for it. Now Brown jams him up in the corner, and Eagles works it free. Onto the sideboards, Ledyard tries to keep it in. Gustafsson helps him out. Now Gustafsson works it free for Mike Miller. Miller tries to center, gives it to Courtnall, and it's played away. Here comes the Eagles starting back now for Chicago. Now out to Sanapass, and the play offside just as Everett Sanapass crossed the blue line into Washington ice.
Great story for Everett Sanapass, full-blooded Micmac Indian, the second full-blooded Indian ever to play for the Chicago Blackhawks and wear that Blackhawk logo on his chest. remember Fred Sask, 1953-54 was the first, but a very tough physical winger. I know the Capitals in the 1986 draft thought very highly of Everett Santapas, but before they had a chance to take him.
I wonder how he feels about the Blackhawk logo. You know, more and more in this country now, there are people who are offended by the logos of certain teams and the nicknames. For him, it's a different tribe. They're not the Chicago Micmacs. Here's Trent Yanni outside the line, and Stevens slaps it back in. Over on the boards, Keith Brown in the corner. Has it taken away by Courtnall to Gustafson. Back to Courtnall. Centers it looking for Miller. But it's played away by Mike Eagles. The Hawks come back on the attack. Gustafson steals the puck at center ice and drops it back again for Scott Stevens. Stevens at his own line. Gets tangled up with Rick Vive at center ice, and there's going to be a penalty call here for elbowing. And Rick Vive heads straight to the penalty box, affording the Capitals the game's first power play. Time of the call, 5:06 of the first period. We're still scoreless.
Capitals blue line, Rick Vive at his first shift of the evening. First slashes Scott Stevens, then gets the elbow in on him. Gives us time for the first Circuit City power play contest. Contestant number 1, Kathy Sagan of Alexandria, Virginia. Kathy has chosen Scott Stevens as the Capitals player to score in this power play. If Scott Stevens scores, Kathy receives a video or a stereo unit courtesy of Circuit City.
Well, good luck, Kathy. Scott's on the ice right now, and he's paired up with Larry Murphy. Dave Christian's on the right wing. Mike Ridley's out there with Michael Pavanka. Capitals will flip-flop the wingers as they come down the ice. And here comes Ridley to charge to the blue line. Has Pavanka with it. Feeds to the point for Stevens. Over to Murphy. Murphy winds in a slap shot. And a save made by Belfour. And he holds on to stop play.
Stevens wheeling it up high into that midpoint area for Larry Murphy. The shot comes up pretty much where Belfour can handle it, not down on the ice where there's a deflection, and the Blackhawk defenseman, as you can see there, doing a pretty decent job of keeping Christian cleared out of the way. There's a little traffic right there late as Pavanka comes moving through, but I think that cleared in time to get Belfour get it right up in the midsection. Pretty easy to handle when it's right up there.
Capitals power play, 4th in the NHL at 25%, and the Blackhawks have had a terrible time in killing penalties this season. They are 21st in the entire league at 71%. But Al, Chicago's still a dangerous team when they are shorthanded. They've scored 11 shorthanded goals, and they're second only to Edmonton, who has 19. And with 11 shorthanded goals, that ties them with Los Angeles. So they've got some players that can get up the ice quickly even when they're short.
Two guys to keep an eye on in that situation, Dirk Graham and Dennis Savard. Graham out on the ice right now as Troy Murray takes his face-off.
Larry Murphy back at the right point. His drive, kick save made by Belfour. And now the Hawks start back by clearing it all the way down the ice. Dirk Graham gets the job done. Graham with 3 shorthanded goals. Savard also with 3 shorthanded goals, and a host of other players have 1 out of that Blackhawk total of 11. Larry Murphy at the right point. Feeds it rink wide to Stevens. His shot deflected by Eagles to the corner. Christian puts it behind the net, misses Pavanka. Now Murphy lets it go on to Ridley. Ridley winds and fires wide. Back to Stevens. Tries to keep it inside the zone, but can't. And it's cleared all the way down. Mike Gartner plays it over to Larry Murphy. Gartner's face shield has cracked now, and he's taken his helmet off. We have a penalty call coming up. I think Gartner was hit. Now Courtnall has been hooked off the play. We'll see if something comes out of that. I think it's just going to be a high sticking penalty, as Mike Gartner was fouled and had his helmet. He ended up taking his helmet off on the play. There's a break in the action. Still no score.
Number 17 of the Hawks, a needless penalty. Gardner clears the puck. You've got a chance to hit him cleanly. Look at what Wayne Presley does. Brings the stick up into the face of Mike Gardner. You're already down a man. Now the Blackhawks down 2 men for the next 19 seconds. That 5 penalty, I think you can attribute to the fact that he was scratch from the lineup the other night against New Jersey, wanted to come out and make an impression on Mike Keenan and the Capitals, try to take on Scott Stevens and really lay a hit on him. Here with Mike Gartner in completely harmless situation, Wayne Presley takes a stupid penalty, and that has really cost the Blackhawks this year. That's one of the reasons they're having trouble killing off penalties. They're killing off so many penalties because a lot of guys are taking some needless 2-minute minors for roughing calls, the high sticking, the things that you really don't need to do.
Well, a two-man advantage on the power play here for another 14 seconds. Gartner's helmet is all right, as he had that helmet forcibly pushed back over the top of his head and ended up having just to take it off. The draw goes over to Courtnall. Played to the point for Ledyard. He keeps it in twice and gives it over to Courtnall. Ledyard gambling, but got the job done. Again to Jeff Courtnall. A slap shot right on and a pad save made by Belfour. Out of the box comes Vibe. Washington's power play now a one-man advantage. Into the corner. Here's Gustafsson. Again to Jeff Courtnall. On the power play to Ledyard. His shot blocked, and the Hawks are able to clear it. Still 1 minute and 10 seconds. Here's a steal, and Peters had to reach over to grab that in a hurry. Larmer creating some fuss back inside the Washington zone. Gartner on the right wing. Tries to circle the net. He's tripped up on the play. And Conroy, the man who had his stick down there, and the Blackhawk fans breathing a sigh of relief as no penalty was called. Kevin Hatcher back in his own zone. 45 seconds left on the Washington power play. Lead pass for Gartner, but he's offside. And the faceoff will come out into the neutral zone with 11:55 remaining here in the first period.
Still 42 seconds left to go in the Presley call. Pete Peters had to be alert on that follow-up right in front of him. And Steve Larmer was almost able to convert into a great scoring opportunity.
Murray now has Christian out on the right wing. Ridley at center. And Michael Pavanka on the left side. Scott Stevens back with Larry Murphy. Ridley's opponent, Dirk Graham. Graham gets the draw. Brings it back to Dave Manson. Pavanka steals. And starts back on the Washington power play to Christian on the right wing. Dave Christian stops on the right wing side. Goes to the corner now for Ridley. Back to Murphy. Again to Mike Ridley. Ridley to Pavanka. Sent it right across the goal mouth. Christian has to chase it into the corner. Christian has his play broken up now by Larmer, and Larmer backhands it all the way down the ice. Time for one last rush here. Only 4 seconds left. On the power play. Now Presley's out of the box, and Chicago is at full strength. Larmer works it out to center ice. Christian steals, puts it back in the Chicago zone. Doug Wilson, the lead pass for Savard. Bobby Gould takes that away. Dumps it back inside the Blackhawk end, and here's McGill behind the net. Off the boards, and Miller takes it away, puts it back into the corner. Belfour roadblocks behind the goal. Here's Wilson to clear it out. At the point, Savard for Wilson. Sends it over on the right wing. And Wayne Presley dumps it across the line, but now Hatcher dumps it back inside Chicago ice. Wilson in a skate race for it, gets there first. Steve Leach out of the corner. Turns it around, and it's blocked. Sent off the sideboards to center, and Kevin Hatcher takes over now for Washington. No score, 10 minutes, 12 seconds remaining here in the first period of the game. Then Gustafsson walks in and fires, and the shot right on, and Belfour took it right in the midsection and makes the play.
Well, the Capitals return home for a great holiday doubleheader. On Friday night, the 23rd, the New York Rangers take on the Caps at 8:05 p.m. Then on the 27th, the Flyers come to town for a 7:35 face-off. Still plenty of good seats remaining. You can pick them up at all Hex ticket centers or call phone charge at 432-0200 or the toll-free number 1-800-448-9009. Operators are on duty until 10 p.m. tonight.
It's our first look at Ed Belfour. He was called up from Saginaw, the International Hockey League, on December the 12th, and with that International Hockey League team had a one-loss mark of 7-6-3 and a 3.17 goals against average. And Vincelette up ahead for Troy Murray, dumps it back into the Washington zone. Vincelette tries to freeze it against the backboards, and Gustafson's there too. Play is finally called.
Got a nice cat and mouse game going between Brian Murray and Mike Keenan, very similar to what they would do against each other when Keenan was coaching Philadelphia. Brian Murray would like to get Ben Gustafson out there every time Dennis Savard is on the ice, but Keenan has been pretty quick about moving Savard away. Brian has changed up on the fly a couple times while Savard has been on the ice to get Gustafson out there, even switching Gustafson once with Michael Pavanka during action. So we'll see how that matchup works out tonight. How many times the opposing coach, Brian Murray, who's so good at that, getting his changes, getting the matchups he won even on the road, how that works against Mike Keenan, who also plays that type of game, matchup hockey.
Gertner toppled at the blue line by Conroy, and Steve Conroy shoots it back into the Washington zone. No score, 9.5 minutes to play here in period one. Caps cleared all the way down. Manson racing after it. He gets there first, and icing is called. You know, Al, it's probably a given that Mike Keenan would pick up somebody like E.J. McGuire, bring him along from Philadelphia when he made the move out of the Flyer organization after being fired to come over here to Chicago. But I give him an awful lot of credit in the acquisition he made in picking up Jacques Martin to help him out as an assistant coach on the bench. What better guide to the Norris division?
Precisely, he gives you the insight to the Norris division, and you're in a situation now where you've got a guy who has had head coaching experience in St. Louis and did a solid job along with Doug McClain. It was just a strange way that they left. I mean, I think a lot of people were surprised that Martin and Doug McClain were fired because the Blues beat these Blackhawks in the playoffs, even though they did lose to Detroit in that second round. It was a pretty solid season, but they wanted to go with a more aggressive team, and they thought that Brian Sutter could give them that. They thought that Jacques Martin's knock on him was he was a little too quiet. So it's a situation where it's to Mike Keenan's benefit. You're absolutely right. Gives you the great insight to the Norris division. And E.J. McGuire, excellent man upstairs, always be in communication with Jacques Martin on the headsets. Is excellent at dissecting videotape and finding some weaknesses in the opposition.
Wilson takes the man, John Druce, and McGill has the puck back in Chicago ice. Here's Doug Wilson. Lead pass up the right wing for Savard. That's across two lines, and play is called. Awful lot of rumblings here in Chicago and around the league about Dennis Savard and how he didn't feel like he was motivated. Well, believe me, Mike Keenan certainly has a reputation as somebody who will get you going one way or the other. Now, I don't know how he's affected Dennis Savard, but Savard unhappy, we are hearing, and the talk, clubhouse lawyer talk, is that he just wants to be traded.
It didn't take long for those two to have their first showdown. About a month and a half into the season at a practice here at Chicago Stadium, Dennis Savard apparently wasn't performing the drills the way Mike Keenan wanted him to, so Savard's entire line had to do some extra skating drills, and Savard didn't like that. Tried to go off the ice, but I think the key thing there was Doug Wilson and a couple other veterans made sure Savard never got off the ice.
Here's a slap shot kicked aside by Belfour, and now Santa Pass gives it up to Ridley. Leach tries to pick it up, but it's cleared all the way back into the Washington zone. Both clubs at full strength. 8.5 minutes to play here in the first period. There's no score. Ridley dumps it across the line, back inside the Chicago zone. Eagles leaves it in the corner, and now Ridley centers it, and a shot by Leach right on, and the save made by Belfour. He's looked pretty sharp so far.
Well, I tell you something else. The Capitals have made them look sharp by where they're putting those shots. We'll talk more about that after this break. No score between the Caps and Hawks. The Caps have had a number of chances, but a lot of the shots on Belfour have been up or on the knees, between the knees and the shoulders. Almost any goaltender can handle that. Belfour stands up well, plays his angles, but he doesn't move his feet particularly well, and I think the Capitals are going to have to start trying to shoot a little lower, both stick and glove side, to try and get him to move those feet, see if you can beat him around the low areas of his game. And right now, everything has been pretty much up where he can handle it.
Mike Miller back inside the Chicago zone. Puck cleared out to center ice. Hatcher knocks it down, and now Gustafsson feeds it over to Ledyard. Puck cleared off the glass to center ice. Doug Wilson, right side for Keith Brown. Back into the corner. Caps again clear to center, and Brown drives it right back in. Here's Hatcher. Flips it all the way down. It goes on net. Belfour has to make a save. Brown up the left wing side for Steve Thomas. Ledyard is able to interrupt that play, and as a result, the Hawks are offside.
Don't miss DC 20's Saturday Night Fright lineup. Starting at 7 p.m., it's War of the Worlds. At 8 p.m., it's Friday the 13th, followed by Freddy's Nightmares at 9 p.m. and Monsters at 10 p.m. That's Saturday night on DC 20. David Boyle on the left, Warren Strelo in the middle, Doug McLean on the right of your screen with Lou Francischetti leaning over his shoulder, trying to tell Doug exactly what's going on the ice, controlling everything up there, of course, right?
Francischetti not dressed tonight for the game. Neither are Sundstrom and Sheehy. Scoreless contest with 7 minutes to play here in the first period. Corvo taken over now by Conroy. He starts out to Bassett. And finally, the Blackhawks get their second shot of the game on goal. Peters has not been forced to do a whole lot so far. Washington has outshot Chicago 8-2. Works it up the sideboards, and Stevens keeps it in. Now a hard hit thrown by Manson on Hunter, and Hunter is sent flying. Vincelette gets the pass, and his shot goes wide. Dan Vincelette to the corner. Rubbed out by Larry Murphy. Mike Gartner on the right wing. Brings to center ice and clears it all the way down. John Druce into the corner after. Druce gets there first. No icing call. But the Hawks recover, and it's cleared out to Vincelette. Now to Savard. Taken away by Dave Christian. Christian across the line. Feeds it over to Druce. And Trent Yawney steals the puck. Here comes Larmer ahead to center ice. Savard across the line. Centering pass, and on the return, Larmer was ready, but Langway got in his way. Dave Christian comes back for Washington. Charges down the middle. Plays to the corner, and Savard is there. Thrown behind the net. Belfour keeps it going. Wilson back for Trent Yawney. He's just returned following an injury that caused him to miss a couple of games. Now the puck shot off the Washington glass in their bench out of play. There's a break in the action with the score. The Capitals nothing and the Blackhawks nothing.
People.
Well, Brian Murray has to be satisfied with the defensive effort of his team. The Blackhawks have been pretty much bottled up, but the Caps, once again, not converting on their offensive chances, and that's why this game is still scoreless with 5:10 left to go in the first period.
Here's Steve Leach across the blue line, gives to Kelly Miller. Miller takes it into the corner. Jammed up on the play. Ridley tied up by Mike Eagles. Tries to get free. Kelly Miller held up by Brown on the backboards. Puck still moving. Now Miller kicks it free. It comes right out to Dave Manson. Manson to center. At the blue line. winds up for the shot, but Everett Santapass was dragging his right skate, and he had it all the way across the blue line, so he was offside on the play.
David Manson has a cannon of a shot. He's getting it off a lot more. It's been a feature for the Capitals, or for the Blackhawk power play, I should say. Santapass trying to hold himself up, but Manson took a little longer to wind up for that drive. This is a guy who's really starting to come into his own. He's a very tough physical player, excellent fighter, but he's handling the puck more, rushing it, and as we said, that shot is a big one, and they're teaming him up with Doug Wilson on the points of the power play. We've yet to see the Blackhawk power play. We no doubt will before the night's over. He used to be able to just concentrate on stopping Doug Wilson on that left point, but with the shot that Manson has now, it's really causing problems and helping the Blackhawks tremendously with the extra man.
Big crowd here at the stadium tonight. They've continued to support the Blackhawks, even though right now the team only has 20 points. They're in last place in the Norris Division, trailing Toronto and Minnesota by 6, and the Blues by 11, and Detroit by 20. Rod Langway in the corner of his own zone. Leads it ahead for Bengt Gustafsson. Shoves it across the line. Now Courtnall gets a high stick from Rick Vaive. Nothing called. The Blackhawks clear it back to center. Langway makes the catch and leads the pass to Gustafsson. He gives to Courtnall. On the right wing side, Courtnall's shot is blocked, and now here comes Troy Murray to start back for Chicago. Flips it into the corner. Larry Murphy bumped by Thomas. Now it comes back to Vaive. Langway grabs him at the point. Wilson lets fly with a cannon, but it missed the mark wide. Langway into the corner. The puck centered. Larry Murphy takes over, and he brings it out to Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall flips it all the way down into the corner, and here's Doug Wilson. Plays it ahead for McGill. Bob McGill into the Washington zone. Kevin Hatcher comes up with the puck. Hatcher sends it off the glass out to center ice. Corvo is hit right in front of the Washington bench. Long slap shot by Dwayne Sutter. On goal, Peters the save. The rebound cleared out to the point. Kept in by Manson. He charges to the net. Throws it for Sutter behind the goal, and Hunter throws a check on Manson. Now Conroy. Over to Presley. Winds and fires. A save made by Pete Peters. Hatcher able to clear it out of the zone to take the pressure off. The Hawks with a couple of shots on that last rush. They only have 4 in the period. Play is called now on an offside pass. There's a break in the action with the score. Washington nothing and Chicago nothing.
They're fixing a little problem with the ice over by the Chicago Blackhawk bench, top left of your screen. See Dan Shakty trying to get a little more ice now, and he's also going to try and repair something on the other side, these near boards. For Rob Schick and lines from Pierre Shampoo, finding a little gouge there along the boards. Last night, the Bulls were in action here with the LA Lakers. This building gets plenty of use, much like the Capitol Center.
Well, they're talking about building a brand new stadium that would be located in the parking lot directly across the street from this present building, and they're talking about 22,000 seats in that and a skywalk to connect the two buildings. They're going to leave this one up and apparently still continue to have ice shows and other events in here.
Well,
Tell me, how can they possibly recreate that atmosphere in any other building?
Can't be done.
They can't do it.
Can't be done, and it's not like, this is a small building. You can jam 19, 20,000 people in here with all the standing room and everything. Scoot Nancy Faust over on her seat at the organ and put somebody else there. I mean, you can jam this place, so it's not like they can't draw the people or they don't have any room for the people. And you're right, the atmosphere in this building is marvelous. Although if we get pelted here, if the Capitals start doing something, will we still like the atmosphere as much?
Sure. Here's Wilson. Feeds it over to Manson. Manson starts to center ice, gets to Savard at the line, but Dirk Graham was ahead of the play on left wing. An offside is called. I asked Mike Keenan today if he thought that, when they do get to a new building, can they possibly, how did he feel about the atmosphere? Here's our spot. Here's where we're sitting in this, right in the middle of the crowd here. at Chicago Stadium. And he had a good line. He said, well, if we ever lose a few, we can always come across the street and play here for a few more games, and that'll maybe get them going again. But right now, they're struggling. In last place, they're a horrible defensive team, the Blackhawks. They've allowed 161 goals against, the most in the National Hockey League. But Mike Keenan feels that that is due in large part to their goaltending. He doesn't feel they've been getting the goaltending, and it's another reason he's glad to have Jacques Martin along. He played some goal in college as a collegiate goaltender and is able to offer some advice. They don't have Bernie Perrant here helping goaltenders either, like they did in Philadelphia. Kelly Miller tries to work it free now to Ridley, and Manson shoves Ridley's skates out from underneath him. Back at the point, Hatcher is challenged by Larmer. Larmer gets away with Savard. The centering pass. Oh, and a save made by Peters. That puck was knocked down and right into the pads of Pete Peters. A good deflection. But Pete was there and had the angle cut.
Well, Dirk Graham is the man who cuts in front of Pete Peters and is able to get his stick on it as Hatcher gets trapped a little bit. But I tell you, this is an excellent play coming in on that other side with Dirk Graham getting a little piece of it. Scott Stevens makes a nice play. Here's Hatcher having a little trouble with it. Larmer busts out, and now you've got the dangerous Larmer, Graham, and Savard. Three of the fastest skaters on this Blackhawk team. Here goes Scott Stevens for the challenge. I'm sorry, it's Stephen Leach there with Dirk Graham. Stephen Leach coming back all the way from that other side. Excellent defensive play by Leach to make sure Dirk Graham was not completely free and clear, although he did get a stick on it. And Pete Peters had to come up with a big save on the deflection.
Michael Pavanka gets it ahead now to Dave Christian as the Capitals break to center ice, and as they cross the line, Bobby Gould offside on the right wing. So again, play is stopped. Dave Christian is among the power play leaders of the Washington Capitals. He has 9 power play goals and 14 goals all told on the year, with 13 assists, giving him 27 points.
He's gone 11 games without scoring. That is something that the Capitals just have to change. That is part of the problem they feel with their offenses. Guys in a little bit of a offensive slump right now, and David Christian leading the list. But if this does get into an open game, it can be such a factor, and maybe this could be the sort of thing that lifts David Christian out of his slump, picking up a couple tonight. This is the team you can do it on.
Pete Peters leaves it behind the net for Ledyard, and Steve Thomas took a run at him from a block away, but only struck a glancing blow. Ledyard was able to get it out of the way a little bit. Here comes Christian to center ice, and now we've got a penalty call coming. This will be interference, and the penalty call is going to be against Washington. Time of the penalty, 18 minutes and 20 seconds of the first period.
Michael Pavanka will get the penalty for interference as he got tangled up with Rick Vaive. Blackhawk power play pretty strong. There you see Pavanka now. Just reaches up and grabs Rick Vaive, pushes him into the boards.
Washington penalty, Pavanka, 2 minutes for interference.
1 minute, 40 seconds left to go in this period. Vaive, as we mentioned, did not play the other night against New Jersey. Had an excellent first season here in Chicago with 43 goals last year. He scored over 50 or more goals 3 times in his National Hockey League career, and is one of the power play leaders for the Blackhawks with 9 extra man goals.
According to Keenan, Vaive came to training camp more than just a little bit heavy. And a lot of people feel he's been in the doghouse ever since, but lately it has really increased. Puck cleared all the way down by Langway to ease the pressure. The Blackhawks at 24% on the power play, and shorthanded Washington is 10th in the league at 79%. Savard over to Murray. Troy Murray to the point for Wilson, sends to the side of the goal, and Vaive sets it up with Larmer. Blackhawks using a similar configuration here on the man advantage that the Capitals use, with wingers positioned at each side of the net. And Langway steps right in the middle and intercepts the pass and clears it all the way down. Belfour with a quick pass to bring the Hawks back into action. Here's Vaive. We're in the final minute of play in the period. Hatcher off the boards to the point, out of the zone for Savard. Over to Wilson. He flips it now to Larmer. Larmer back to Wilson. Dumps it into the Washington zone, and Hatcher is able to clear it all the way down.
The only thing that makes this lineup unique for the Hawks is the fact that they a lot of times use Dennis Savard at that right point. You figure that guy would be down low or on the goal line. Try and take advantage of his excellent playmaking there, but they put him up at that right point a lot. Now they'll have Manson will come out and play the point, move Savard around a little bit, but that's something Mike Keenan will do a bit. They've done it in the past using Dennis Savard on the point, which is kind of interesting.
I think they like to have him handle the puck out there, and he serves almost like a quarterback on that power play, and he'll be the guy that makes the pass to the other point or else into the corner. But they like to set those two wingers, one on each side of the net, for that goal mouth pass. And the Capitals use the very same sort of setup, and they like to have Dave Christian be the guy that takes the shot when it comes across the goal mouth.
Well, they've got a good guy in Steve Larmer in that. I mean, this guy's always got his stick on the ice, and he gets his shot away very quickly. That's how they try and set Larmer up.
Time running out in the period, and there's the siren. The shots on goal in the first period. Washington with 8 and Chicago with 5. And no score after 20 minutes of play between the Washington Capitals and the Chicago Blackhawks. More hockey coverage coming from the famed Chicago Stadium right after we pause for these messages on your Superstation for Sports, DC 20.